Welcome back to Good Day Stateline. It's Wednesday, which means it is game day. Tonight, how cool is this? Eyewitness News anchor and Bergstrom Stateline Quiz Bowl host Eric Wilson got the chance to talk with Sarah Haines from ABC's The Chase about their love of game shows, how she got her start in TV, and that one thing she couldn't let go of.
First of all, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. The Chase season 2 picked back up a couple of weeks ago. How excited are you to be back?
I'm so excited. I'm addicted to games and game shows. So to have been a part of one and have literally a front row seat to the excitement and kind of the off-camera moments, and it's been such an amazing ride.
This is a fun story. You worked your way up from the bottom. You were part of the PAGE program.
Yeah.
You worked your way up to being a correspondent and an anchor and a host. What kind of fun were you? When I started out interning at Entertainment Tonight, and that's kind of how I got my look inside the business a little bit.
Right.
What do you remember about your time in that PAGE program? Any fun stories?
Oh my gosh, there are so many fun stories. I feel like the only way we ate, because we made so little money, it was like $10 an hour. And, some people had supplemented income through parents, but I didn't have that. So we would eat from what the catering was at different shows. And so you had SNL, Saturday Night Live, you had Rosie O'Donnell at the time, you had eventually Conan and all these shows. So we'd go buy what was left over on the catering trays. And I swear I existed on pure carbs for one full year. Anything to avoid having to buy a meal when you left, because you'd worked such long hours. I also was there. It's not a fun memory, but it's a kind of pivotal memory. I was there during 9/11. And so the friendships of that program are strong regardless, because it's such a cool program, and you can't believe you're getting paid at all to do it because it's so fun. But to be there for that historical moment, there's not a 9/11 that passes because they ended up crashing. A lot of people stayed at my apartment to use my landline, because not many people even had them in 2001. But I did, and the cell towers were down. So many kids, us young people, we were adults, but we're trying to reach their parents and they couldn't. And so they'll write me on 9/11 saying, I can't believe another year has passed. I'll never forget that. And so it was a historical year. And to have been a part of such an amazing program, it was a ride for sure.
No kidding, especially to have that connection.
Yep.
What do you think your story says about hard work in general? I mean, you talked about it a little bit in a nutshell there, where you didn't have any of this supplemental income. It was tough, just struggling. And now, look at how successful you've become. What does that say about hard work, you think?
Well, I always say that you may not be the smartest in the room, and in this business, you may not be the prettiest or the youngest or anything else, but you can always be the hardest worker in a room. That is something you have control over. And I also believe that I always focused on the task at hand. I never lost respect for the job that I was reporting for. So as a production coordinator, I took that job very seriously. I think sometimes you see young people come along and they're like, but I want to do that. And you're like, well, we don't get to choose. Like, the ID that gets me into this building and the paycheck that pays my rent is my first responsibility. The rest you can do in addition to and above and beyond. And when you show people that they can trust you doing the job they gave you, that's when they give you more, or they allow you to do more.
Did you ever see yourself becoming a game show host?
Okay. So, no, but
I'm going to settle in, because this sounds like you've got a good story coming.
So when I worked with Michael Strahan, he had invited me, like he does for a lot of people, to come on Pyramid. And I take a game really seriously. Like, so I prepped, practiced, trained for that job. There was, like, if you've ever seen Ace Ventura's Laces Up moment, like there was a moment where I got a question wrong that I couldn't let go of. And so for maybe 6 weeks, when we got back to work, I kept bringing up how I would have done it differently. What would this have worked? What do you think? And Michael was like, let it go, Sarah. Seriously, let it go. So the next time I get asked to come back, which was summer of 2020, the producer, probably as a courtesy, said, if you want to practice it all, here's my number. I called him every day. We trained. I printed out practice tests. I really took it seriously and did a good job. And I always thought, how lucky is Michael that he gets to call this a job? Every scenario, every winner's circle, every moment, he gets to kind of play along, and it's an awesome game. And he gets paid to do that. What a joke, like in the best way. Like I need that it. Never thinking, because I'm not a Michael Strahan, that a show would come along that I'd get a chance like that. And so it's a bit pinch me that like I get to be a part of this, especially because now I hang out with really smart friends. When I sit and have a drink or a meal with Ken or James, Brad, a lot of times we'll sit together. I'm like, you guys, I'm definitely not the smartest one in this group.
It's humbling, I imagine, right?
Humbling, but it also, I always, smart kids, and that's why quiz and trivia are so impressive to me. I always thought that was so beautiful. I surrounded myself by smart people my whole life because I thought, if you're smart, you'll put smart people around you because all of that lifts you. Like it always is better for you too. And so to be in a trivia show with Jeopardy greats is like, who got the lottery now?
You can catch more with Sarah this weekend on Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl. This week, Eric is recapping round 1 and getting us ready for round 2 Sunday night at 9:30 p.m. right here on Fox 39. Coming up next, it's Wine Wednesday. We'll be right back.